roll.
Fam, what's going on? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for starting off your day right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here, from Southern Red to Patriot Life to Jarvis to James Ross, Garrett Clemens, Clint, everybody up in the house. Max, I see you. Angel, what's going on? Think about becoming a fan funder to help support the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. This is a huge week of college football. This is a huge recap today of the most elite recruiting performance we've seen in a while, since really Coach Saban, right? Who would have thought they would have pulled off their mask and be the same coach doing the same thing? We're going to talk about it all today. SEC Media Day starts today. You have LSU, you have South Carolina, you have Ole Miss, and you have Vandy at the podium today. We're going to talk a little bit about EA Sports College Football, which drops later today, so you can have fun. Jump on the stream later on today with me. You're going to see that right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We're going to talk about the fact that Alabama landed not one but 2 5-stars this weekend. We're going to talk about Caleb Cunningham. We're going to talk about Ty Haywood. We're going to talk about the 5-star talent. Alabama is now ranked number 1 in the recruiting rankings, right? No matter where you look. I don't know if 24/7 has changed over, but eventually they will. And Alabama is going to be number 1 in the class. What's up, Rodney? I see you inside the comment box. Patriot Life, having fun with all the new emojis. And we'll continue to add more emojis. Let me ask you, what other emojis should we add? And Todd, I see you inside the comment box as well, man. You have me close to my computer. Still number 2 on 24/7. I think that'll change at some point in time. Maybe AK Deer is next. I don't know. All right, so AK Deer, and we're going to talk about him as well. And Derek Meadows commits this coming Saturday. So it's a busy week right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And let's just kind of start out at the top while everybody is checking in. Let me know where you're coming from inside the comment box. SEC Media Day starts today, and that is in Dallas, Texas. So to start off, you have Greg Sankey, right, the commissioner, and then passing the baton after him will be LSU football coach Brian Kelly. I'm interested to hear what Brian Kelly has to say. I'm always kind of curious to see kind of the pulse of LSU. I think when you look to Alabama football and you look to now the SEC overall, there's no more East and West. I mean, all of these teams are vying for the number 1 and number 2 spot in college football in the SEC to be able to make the SEC championship. What's up, DC 777? I see you up in the house. Max, what's up, man? So Brian Kelly at the podium, really interesting to see what he has to say today, following, replacing a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, who did an amazing job for LSU last season. You also get to hear from Shane Beamer. Sometimes he has some punchy comments, but then Lane Kiffin, I think, will be kind of the spotlight, and we'll bring those press conferences on later on today right here to Bama Football on YouTube. So don't be alarmed if you see some additional press conferences being loaded to the YouTube channel. It's part of how I run the channel. We might chop it up. I might load the whole thing in its entirety. So just, be kind of on the lookout for those different press conferences to be loaded to the channel. And, of course, on Wednesday, you have an opportunity to hear from Coach Kayin Deboer, Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore, Tyler Booker. So we will have coverage as that comes in right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So kind of keep your head on a swivel for that. EA Sports, finally, they're dropping the video game. I mean, it's been a long time, right, since 2014, since this game has been released. And today is kind of like a Christmas for all of those that played the game, who loved the game, who savored the game. I myself will finally be able to stream the game right here on our YouTube channel. We'll have fun with it. What I plan to do, I got some fun things in store, but I want to play the Dynasty with you guys. So, right as it's released this afternoon, come here to the channel. We'll walk you through it. We'll look at the player ratings. Maybe we'll play, I was going to ask you, how many times, two things. What should I set the quarters at? I was thinking 7 minutes per quarter. And I was also thinking about, what level should I play on? Like out the gates, Heisman, All-American. Look, I can play on the sticks a little bit, but it's been some time since I played college football. And clearly you've been watching me play Madden. It's a grind right on Heisman. But then you have Alabama. So we'll have to see how it goes. And I'll have fun with it later on today, probably around, I think it's like at 3 p.m. Central Time. Okay, let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. And that is the fact that Alabama, what happened on Saturday? And what happened on Sunday? I mean, it's amazing, honestly. Not only did you get 1 5-star, you followed up on Sunday with another 5-star, and Ty Haywood. So let's talk about Caleb Cunningham first. All right, so Caleb Cunningham, he's the number one player in Mississippi, and he did seem like an Alabama lean. And it was interesting because going into that Saturday, we felt that we were watching Derek Meadows, right? And then in the morning time, we figured out that Derek Meadows is pushing his announcement back to the 20th, right, which is this coming Saturday. We don't know. I haven't seen any big dogs put in their forecast or anything like that for Derek Meadows, who's a 6'6" wide receiver out of Nevada, right? I think he's the number one player in the state of Nevada. I would love to have him part of this class. Well, it seemed like things were it was a matter of time until Caleb Cunningham committed to Alabama. This guy, I feel, is an all-purpose type wide receiver. He can play on the outside, inside, elite hands, really good speed. But we didn't really have a date when he was going to announce his decision. So on Saturday, he pulls the trigger and he commits to Alabama, right? So that bolsters Alabama's overall recruiting class. And then the next day, we're kind of just posted. It's Sunday, right? I have a rule, right? You don't wear shoes with laces on Sunday, right? Sunday is a day that you chill. And, after you do your yard work and stuff, I'm doing all the chores just like you. But, right, you don't lace them up. So I'm posted, we're making lunch and stuff like that, and then boom, I see that Ty Haywood has committed. Look, I figured that Ty Haywood would be a part of this class. I really did. I just didn't know that he would jump on board right now. So when you start to look at Alabama's offensive line, and I have a graphic when we're going to look at the class of 2025 and who they've added from the offensive line, it's a stellar class. Coach Kapilovic must be like a kid in a candy store. Think about this, okay, fam? Listen to what I'm about to say. Coach Kapilovic, the new offensive line coach, he came in, you get Caden Proctor back, you get Tyler Booker back, you get Parker Brailsford to transfer, right? Jane Robert, you see what I'm saying here? And, you have all of those four guys returning, right? You have to figure out who's going to be your right tackle, and I get that, and we're going to figure out who that's going to be going forward. But then when you come to recruiting, man, look, and we'll just, I can show the graphic right now, and I'll go full screen on it real quick so you guys can get a picture of what Coach Kapilovic is going to have to work with, not only this year, but these next, in 2025 when this class gets on board. The offensive line reads like this so far. Ty Haywood, he's a 5-star, right? Out of Texas. Michael Carroll, who's a 5-star, my goodness, out of Pennsylvania. Jackson Lloyd, who's a 4-star, one of the top prospects in California. And this is just the offensive line, class of 2025, right? These are all the guys that are protecting a 5-star quarterback, Keelan Russell. Micah DeBose, right, out of the home state. And same thing with Mal Waldrop, right, out of Phoenix City. So you bring in those guys in terms of your offensive line. Who's going to be protecting Keelan Russell? It's an elite group of offensive linemen. And if you're Coach Kapilovic, I think, we haven't really talked much about Coach Kapilovic. So when you're out there hyping up these assistant coaches and when you're talking with your friends, don't forget to hype up Coach Kapilovic, because I saw him during the springtime working one-on-one with the guys. I think he's an elite recruiter as well. Look, Eric Wolford to Kapilovic, I think Alabama upgraded right there. And that's a lot of star power coming in. So I get it. You got to hold on to these guys. You got to keep winning during the season to maintain the momentum overall with the team. But what they have right here is this offensive line that I'm really, really excited about. As I mentioned, Alabama is now number 1 in the recruiting rankings. Go ahead and give a thumbs up inside the comment box. You can post a Kayin Deboer emoji while I take a sip of my hot coffee. So Alabama moved into the number 1 spot, and I think Jarvis said inside the comment box that 24/7 still has them at the number 2 spot. I don't know if it's going to, the next week or so, or depending on what happens, if AK Deer jumps on board, and we'll talk about AK Deer next. I think it's just a matter of time until Alabama does jump them in the rankings. So I use On3. But I think, Rivals, 24/7. I love Rivals. I love 24/7. All those guys do such a great job. And please support all the big dogs and the small guys out there that are doing their thing, creating content. Love all of them. And, it's good to see kind of, where we're at in terms of covering content. You guys can see out there, people put in the work, having the videos ready, giving their analysis, whether you're a member of the sites or whether you're not. Honestly, support it all and enjoy it. Email is nmpreps@gmail.com if you guys want to contact me. So nmpreps@gmail.com, and then Mr. Kyle Henderson on Instagram. Bama football on YouTube, of course, on Twitter. So Alabama moves into the #1 recruiting spot. And what's interesting about this is I think I kind of rewind back to April when Alabama wasn't in, I don't even think they were in the top 25, to be honest, recruiting wise. And how could they be? Nobody knew what this coaching staff, nobody knew these assistants, nobody knew even what Courtney Morgan was going to do from a coaching standpoint, recruiting philosophy wise, right? Like we had no idea. We get into May and we don't really see much going on as well. And then you see, I mean, they kind of met with some guys, but then June when they started hosting and you started having prospects on board, I thought that's when you saw a lot of momentum. And I'm going to say this again. The first guy to jump on board was Keelan Russell back in June, right? So he's kind of the one who catapulted this group because, look, dogs want to play with dogs. Savages want to play with savages, 1,000,000%. And him coming over, look at what has happened since Keelan Russell has committed. You built your entire offensive line. You get some really talented wide receiver, very talented wide receiver to jump on board, and more are going to come. You get some defensive players that are absolutely elite. Dejon Lee, Dawson Merritt, just to name a couple. So that's kind of what's happened. And I think if you're outside looking in and you're one of these other programs like Ohio State or Georgia or Oregon or LSU, it must be very frustrating, specifically for, and I know we talk about little brother, right, Auburn, but let's talk about Georgia. I mean, can you imagine? You're like, all right, so Coach Saban's gone. All right, we're going to run this thing, and you're Ohio State, and you're like, all right, we're already the top team recruiting wise. We have all this money that we can go in on board, and Oregon's just like open up the checkbook, and to still have Alabama, a coach who is not. I mean, look, I get it. He's known for he can develop talent. I mean, look how many guys he sent into the NFL. But he's not. I mean, how many 5-stars has Coach Kalen? Can someone look this up real quick? Before he coached at Alabama, how many 5-stars did Coach Kayin Deboer recruit? Like get to sign? Can somebody look that up? I don't know. Is it 0? So he comes to Alabama with a loaded arsenal of a ton of material to work with, tons of resources. Thank you, Christopher Woodson. Think about that. So he's never had a 5-star commit to him, right? And that's not because he lacks recruiting. It's just, maybe it was the region he was in, Washington, Fresno State, Indiana. I don't know. They don't get a lot of 5-stars. Come to Alabama, you have the brand, you have your philosophy, you have this new coaching staff. Look what he's been able to do in such a short time. Really 2 months of really selling the overall brand. And you're able to jump Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, LSU. I mean, Oregon, they are going out with they have so much money. Georgia, look what Kirby Smart has been doing. Everybody has respect for Georgia, right? Whether you want to, post an emoji of Georgia sucks or whatever inside the comment box, we all know that fourth game of the season when Alabama plays them, it's going to be, ultra challenging because we know what Georgia has. But for Alabama to be right where they're at this point in time says so much to me about the future of Alabama football. There were so many people that said that he couldn't recruit, and look what he's doing right now going into the middle of July. And look, Alabama, like these other teams are going to continue to get theirs. There might be a decommit here or there, but I think more talent is going to come on board to Alabama. I mean, who knows? Khalid Lockett out there, an A.K. Deer. We're going to talk about some defensive prospects, as we get forward. But, and I don't know. Like I've mentioned this before. I'm never going to believe that things are done with Naheem Oford until like they are literally done, until he has signed the paperwork. That's the #1 player in the state of Alabama that I'm sure, a lot of these guys are working on. So we'll just have to see what happens going forward. I talked about the offensive line already. I mean, stars on stars. Ty Haywood, an elite talent. Michael Carroll, that guy, ultra athletic. Jackson Lloyd, ultra athletic. Mal Waldrop, I love the fact that he was right out of Auburn's backyard. And Micah DeBose, man, that was an awesome commitment ceremony. When he came up to the podium, he was introduced by Ryan Williams. And I get it. He went up to Ohio State, visited. Why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you go up there? All right. I have to switch gears. Toby is from Leeds, okay? He's on the left. He's posted with Coach Kayin Deboer. Toby has met everybody. So long story short, if you know my channel, this past season I met Toby before a football game. And, I was going up to the media room and I met Toby. And, Toby is the biggest Alabama football fan. He lives in Leeds, Alabama. And so we exchanged numbers. And Toby is always asking me to post this picture on the channel. And sometimes, I'm flying 1,000,000 miles an hour. I do this all by myself. So this morning I was able to get it into the show. So this is Toby from Leeds. And you know what? Like, Toby has never doubted, #1, the channel. He has always kept faith in me. He calls me. He calls me, and we'll just talk Alabama football. The ultra most positive dude. And I don't think that 2% of the people on here, if you were dealing with what Toby deals with, right, that we could have the type of attitude that Toby has, all right? Toby also never lost faith in Alabama football. Never. I mean, so Toby, he's battling a lot in his life, but he's never had that poor me syndrome. So if you're out there and you know Toby of Leeds, Alabama, if you've met him, man, he is the biggest Alabama football fan. And I can't believe that he already met Coach Kayin Deboer, right? He's got pictures with him. So if you see Toby out there, please show him some love, because he is the biggest supporter of our channel and definitely want to hype him up. All right, if you're just joining me, Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube, here are the topics that we're running through today. You got SEC Media Days, which kicks off today, and you see EA Sports, the football game, drops on the back end. Alabama has added 2 5-stars this past weekend, which puts them at the #1 spot. You got Caleb Cunningham, who committed on Saturday, and then Ty Haywood. The 5-star talent is really amazing. Let's go full screen here, and let's look at this. Man, Jarvis, you're going to have me have all my stuff ready, right, on AK Deer, all right? And let me ask you, while I'm going through this 5-star talent, please go ahead and post who is next to commit to Alabama. Who do you think is next to commit to Alabama? I'm already going to go ahead inside the comment box. I'm going to say AK Deer. What do you think about who is next to commit to Alabama? Let's run through this graphic real quick. All right. So when you look at the 5-star talent, and I get it, some of these guys might be ranked in different spots on different sites. I think overall, here's what we're looking at. And we'll start from left to right. So you got Caleb Cunningham, who's a receiver out of Mississippi. Now, he committed on Saturday. He's the #1 overall player in the state of Mississippi, elite talent. Keelan Russell, I think he's still a 4-star on On3. That probably won't be for long. He's out of the state of Texas. I think he is a 5-star on 24/7. I think he's a 5-star on Rivals, too. You have Dejon Lee. Everybody's calling for AK Deer. All right, so everybody set the notifications and be ready for AK Deer at some point in time. Keelan Russell, he's the one who started this entire avalanche. I'm giving him all the props, which I think he deserves. Won the Elite 11. I felt that he would have been already a 5-star on all the platforms, but I think in due time, and he'll get there. Dejon Lee, an elite talent from California, 6'4" corner. This is one of my favorite prospects. I'm not going to lie in the class. I mean, I get excited about defensive players, specifically the corners that are long, that are rangy, that can battle with some of these elite wide receivers, right? Because we're playing grass basketball. Michael Carroll, he's probably the sleeper offensive lineman, so far. I like this guy's talent. I like his athleticism. Saw that clip of him throwing down the basketball, the Monster Jam. All these guys are athletic offensive linemen. And then you have Ty Haywood, who is Alabama's newest commitment in a 5-star out of the state of Texas. So you have, and look at the places that Coach Kayin Deboer has been able to go into. I mean, he's gone everywhere. Now you could probably point if you're on the opposite side and be like, hey, well, he doesn't have anyone in the state of Florida. Well, he might that might not be a pipeline right now for him, but what he's doing out of the state of California, what is he at? 5, 6 guys out of the state of California. I don't have my notes in front of me in terms of the players from California, but I mean, the elite talent is there. And he's gone everywhere from Pennsylvania back to Texas. I mean, working Texas has been amazing. So, huge fill for Alabama yesterday in getting Ty Haywood, which moves them up to the #1 spot. I would love to see AK Deer jump on board. I think when you look to a player like AK Deer, we're watching his highlights right now. You're talking about, I think he's the #2 player in the state of Mississippi. I'm telling you, Mississippi has fire talent this year. So AK Deer would be the second commitment to Alabama at the running back position. You have Turbo Rogers, right, out of Montgomery. And people have said that maybe he could be on a flip watch for Ohio State. I don't know about that. But AK Deer, I would love to get 2 running backs in this class. AK Deer and Turbo Rogers, my goodness. And running backs are going to get fed in this system. I think what you get from AK Deer is an all-purpose type back. I think he has really good explosion, as you can see in that clip. He's got a really good top-end speed. He's shifty. He's powerful. You can follow him on his Instagram channel. He's got some really good highlights of him working out. I think he's D1 Chop on Instagram or on Twitter, but man, he gets a lot of yards after contact. And, this is a guy that I think would be a wonderful addition to Alabama. So kind of waiting on AK Deboer. I think he even threw 4 touchdown passes, like in their offense. Man, look, he's a 2-strider. What that means is you just get 2 feet within those 5 yards. Man, he almost ran over the the official. So AK Deboer, damn, he's shifty. Man, love to see him on board. Right now, when you look to the Alabama running back room in terms of depth, what you have, and if you guys like the content, remember I do everything in-house, so please think about becoming a fan funder. Only $2.99. There's a link at the video that you guys could check out. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel, hitting the thumbs up, or just being here in general. Super chats goes a long way. I know Henry already hit us with the 5 spot, so thank you very much. Here's the running back room, the depth chart as of today. So you have Jam Miller, who's a junior, Justice Haynes, who's a sophomore, Richard Young, who's an absolute beast. I feel that those 3 are absolutely going to eat. I think when you look to top running back rooms in the country, you have Ohio State with Judkins and Henderson, and Jam Miller and Justice Haynes probably aren't too far behind that, to be honest. Richard Young, I mean, guys, absolute monster. Daniel Hill, big dude at like 230. Kevin Riley, right out of Tuscaloosa County High School. And then Turbo Rogers at the bottom left. As you can see, each of these running backs didn't have a lot of production last year. Jam Miller only had 201 yards. Justice Haynes had 168 yards. And then Richard Young only had 24 carries. I think he had 24 carries up in the spring game. But all these guys are going to eat. I've said my deal that I don't feel that Alabama is going to have a 1,000-yard rusher this year. That's just my take. We've talked about that before, but we are all watching AK Deboer on Commitment Watch. We've talked about this before. Here's that graphic I was looking for. So kind of the California pipeline, right? California love, if you want. So you look at the Cali commits for the class of 2025 and what Kayin Deboer has been able to do out in Cali. Maybe we need a California emoji, right? Caleb Edwards, who's a 4-star tight end. Dejon Lee, who's a 5-star defensive back. Chuck McDonald, don't forget about him. Alex Oshbaroff, who's a punter. Abdul Sanders, who's a linebacker, and Jackson Lloyd. So 6 from Cali under Kayin Deboer using the West Coast ties to commit to Alabama, absolutely crushing it as, he's using those West Coast ties to bring them here to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Everybody calling for AK Deboer. Can't wait to see it. I think you guys should probably stay close to the phones, your computers, whatever you got. We need a Hollywood sign. Yeah, Hollywood sign, right? I like that. Hollywood. Is there any other ideas for an emoji for California? Hollywood, right? Okay. I'll cook that up, right? I mean, you got 6 commitments from California, okay? I'm trying to think what other, emojis would be fun to drop. So let me know if you got some ideas. All right, fam. So look, this week is going to be ultra busy. You got SEC Media Days, which starts today. Brian Kelly be at the podium. Lane Kiffin be at the podium. They're always going to say something. I wonder what Lane Kiffin's going to talk about now because Coach Saban retired, right? Is he going to talk about Coach Kayin Deboer? I doubt it, right? I mean, every single year, all Lane Kiffin did was talk about Nick Saban. I'm going to miss that because he did have a lot of good stories, right? But all he would do is talk about Coach Saban, like even on social media. So we will have SEC Media Day coverage. I would stay on watch for AK Deboer. Like, I got to get graphics ready. Seems like that could pop at any point in time. So stay close. All this week, SEC Media Days, 3 p.m. Central Time, I will be playing NCAA football. I promise you. Right on the channel. Please come back, join. Have fun with it. I'll be on the sticks, and we'll have fun with it. I appreciate you guys being here this morning. Thank you very much for the feedback on the new intro. I feel it kind of gives off the good energy. You know what I like is I'm high energy, and I feel it's on brand with being high energy. So I appreciate you guys. From Patriot Life, Chris in New Jersey, Max Tooney, Jarvis, Christopher Woods, Southern Red, Joe Crooms, Angel, I appreciate you guys. Remember, how I run my channel during, like July will differ from August and September. I'm always kind of changing things, but I appreciate you guys being here in the morning segment during the summertime. I really, really appreciate you guys' continued support of the channel itself. Have a beautiful rest of your morning. Stay close by because I think we're going to be on sooner than later Tony, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. You guys have a beautiful morning. Go do your thing. Get your coffee in. Get your workout in. Get your meditation in. I got the kettlebell workout in. I know you guys are always asking about the calorie count. So go do your thing. It's 4 p.m. Eastern time, so 3 p.m. Central time. Yeah, that's EA Sports. So I appreciate you guys. Oh, yeah, we probably need the outro, too. But if you haven't seen the new intro, I'll play it one more time on the outro. So I love you guys. Thank you very much for being here. 3, 2, 1. Here is the new intro for the show. I love you guys, and I'll catch up with you soon right here on Bama Football on YouTube. 3, 2, 1.
18 national championships. Alabama is the champagne of college football. The best of the best, the gold standard, because that's what you deserve as a fan. This is Bama Football on YouTube, covering Alabama football at the highest level. Often copied, but never duplicated. From Kayin Deboer's post-game press conference to news as it happens, independently owned and operated, coming to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the place where legends are made.